Okay, I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, since we missed the last few weeks, we'll have a slightly more detailed recap. Hmm? Okay. So far in here's how the flow of our course has been. So, we saw that we are all happiness-seeking beings. Everyone can easily appreciate this fact, right? We are all looking for happiness at all times. And then, but we saw we cannot find real happiness all the time. In fact, we may just get a few glimpses of happiness. And then our second session was we are all spirit souls, we are atmas, we are not these bodies. And at bodily level, we cannot find substantial happiness. And then third session was we are not even our minds. So in the third session, we saw that we are living within two types of bodies. What are they? Gross and subtle body. So the gross body is, this body we can perceive, the physical body. And the subtle body consists of what are the three elements making up the subtle body?
Mind, intelligence, and soul.
Mind, intelligence, and
Soul.
no, soul is us. We, the Atma, are the soul, but there's something else making up the subtle body. Mind, intelligence, and one more thing. Would
Ego.
someone else like to? Yeah,
False
Rajat.
Ego.
Yeah, Rajat Prabhu
false.
answered. Yes, false ego. And yes, yes. Yeah, I think two of you gave the right answer. So yes, mind, intelligence, and false ego. So we are living within this setup. We are not the mind and we are not the intelligence. So now naturally, when we become convinced about this truth, and Lord Krishna very emphatically states these points in the Bhagavad Gita, seventh chapter, fourth and fifth verses, if you read. So it's quite clear from those verses that we are not even our mind. So therefore, running after fulfilling all the desires and all the whims of the mind is not in our true interest, because that's not us ultimately. So fulfilling the desires of the body and the mind is actually not in our real interest. Under illusion, we may think that this will make us happy, but in reality, it can be very easily observed that it doesn't make us happy. So then we saw in the fourth session how while living in this world, we are living amidst three modes that are governing our lives. And what are those three modes?
Tamas, Rajas, and Sattvic. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. So these three modes govern us. And then after that session, we saw how while we live in this world, there are also laws that act upon us, specifically the laws of karma, hmm, which is nature's reward system. Hmm. Basically, in other words, these laws of karma can also be put as uh, cosmic sensitivity training. Hmm. Laws that help living entities become sensitive, that train us to become sensitive. Hmm. So, yeah. So, until all these, in these 5 or 6 sessions, we saw how we are happiness seeking beings and we are Atmas, but currently living in a temporary setup of gross and subtle body. And then while living in this temporary realm of matter, we are governed by the three modes of nature, namely Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. And then we are also governed by the laws of karma. And then we also saw the mechanics of transmigration, how one transmigrates from one body to another. So, what are the two Ds that take us from one body to another? Does someone remember?
Decide and
Yes.
deserve.
Wonderful. Thank you. Prabhu. Desire and deserve. Hmm. So what we desire naturally determines what our next birth will be. Therefore, we must carefully watch our desires. Hmm. In this connection, we saw how many times our mind dwells on many if only types of desires, right? Oh, if only I could go back in the past and change that. If only I had invested in stocks. If only I had purchased stocks when the stock prices were at the bottom. Or if only I had sold stocks when the stock prices were at the peak. Hmm? If only I could go back in the past and crack that exam and get into whatever college and whatever. Hmm? So, or if only I could go back and yeah, maybe make a better impression on that girl, whatever. The mind may be filled with so many types of if only types of desires. Kash, in Hindi it is called kash. Kash aisa kiya hota. Hmm? So now we saw that, oh, these if only types of desires, they are not innocent or harmless. We may see them as innocent or harmless, but no, actually they shape our next destiny. They sow the seeds for our next birth. So yeah, if say somebody who is dark in complexion and he is constantly thinking, oh, if only I was fair in complexion. Yeah, how will material nature fulfill his desire? Okay, fine. If you really care about being fair, yes, you can take one more birth. We will award you another birth where you can be fair in complexion. Hmm? Or somebody may think, oh, if only I was tall in height. Hmm? Uh, yeah, now we may think, oh, this is an innocent desire or harmless desire. But no, material nature may reciprocate by because our desires take us to our next destination. If we do not have spiritual desires, then if our desires revolve around this material realm, then we remain in this material realm, caught up in the cycle of birth and death. If only I could, yeah, whatever. And then, yeah, those if only types of desires, if they cannot be fulfilled in this life, then, yeah, material nature, which is ultimately under the supervision of God, will fulfill those desires in the next birth. So yeah, our desires determine what our next birth will be. And so this is one D, but is this the only D that determines our next destination? There's one more D. What was it? Hare Krishna Prabhu, you had answered it. The deserve, yeah. And deserve is the karma part, basically. I may desire many, many big things. I may desire to become the president of America, but do I even deserve it? So whatever I desire will be fulfilled only if the deserve criterion is also met. So yeah, okay, I may desire this, that. But if I even deserve it, then I will get it. If I don't deserve it, then maybe I'll get something along my desires, but with a lower standard or lower quality. So yes, desire and deserve, they determine our next birth. So then we started now having discussed what we are and what we are doing in this world, struggling amidst various laws and trying to look for oceanic happiness all the time, but unable to find it. So, Vignesh Prabhu, you raised your hand, but can we take it a little later?
Yeah, sure, Prabhu. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So then we started going higher and higher in our understanding toward the supreme truth. So then we saw theories of creation. So yeah, we saw some materialistic theories that say, oh, everything came about by random chance. Then there are some theories which may apparently sound spiritual, but they are not spiritual and not aligned with Bhagavad Gita. So some theories say that everything is illusion. So materialistic theories say that this matter, this realm of matter we are living in, made of atoms and molecules, that's the only reality. And our soul, our existence is wholly composed only of atoms and molecules. Even the feelings we have, all our emotions, feelings, everything just boils down to matter. It all boils down to some electrochemical signals passing through our neurons. In our body, we have brain cells, neurons, and so on, right? Nervous cells. So all feelings, everything just boils down to some electrochemical signals passing through the body. So these are materialistic theories. Then some type of theories say, no, everything is illusion. Sab moha maya hai. But then what is the Bhagavad Gita stance? The Bhagavad Gita neither says matter is absolute, nor does Bhagavad Gita say matter is all illusion. But what does the Bhagavad Gita say about matter, this realm of matter? It is, what is it? Does someone remember that one word which describes the Bhagavad Gita's perspective on matter?
Reflection.
Reflection, yes, yeah. It is a reflection. A reflection of what? Reflection of reality, spiritual reality. So yes, this matter, this realm of matter we are living in, it is also true. It is happening. Right now, Amar Prabhu and Hari Krishna Prabhu, they are sitting in ISKCON Boston Temple on the second floor, which is located at 72 Commonwealth Avenue. This is not all illusion. It is happening in physical space. But it is temporary reality. The physical space we live in and all the happenings around us, it is true, but it is temporary. And it is a reflection of what? The actual spiritual reality. So then we discussed how, say, there's a mango tree. And where usually do we see the reflection of a tree? On near some water body. If a tree is located near some water body, in the water body, we will see reflection of the tree. So suppose there's a mango tree with very attractive, luscious mangoes hanging on it. And we look inside the water body. Even in the water body, we will see nice mangoes. However, if we dive into that water body, hoping to get those mangoes from that water body, will we be able to get them? No. No matter how hard we try, no matter how much optimistically we try, let's be positive and optimistic. अरे negative मत सोचो यार. You spiritualists always speak pessimistic stuff. Be optimistic, man. Let's find the mangoes in the water body. But no matter how hard we try, will we be able to find mangoes in the water body? No, because they are not there in the water body. So similarly, our search for happiness, if happiness can be compared to those luscious mangoes, and we are running after those luscious mangoes of happiness, no matter how hard and optimistically we try in the water body to find those mangoes, we will not find them. So similarly, the soul's, the Atma's search for happiness in this material world, it's something like diving into a water body, hoping to get those mangoes. We will unfortunately not be able to find them there. Now, this may sound a little pessimistic, but no, there is a positive side to this. Because we cannot find those mangoes in the water body, doesn't mean we can never find them. We can find them, but where? We just have to come out of that water body and go to the real tree. And there on that real tree, we will find the mangoes. So similarly, because there's no happiness in this material world, doesn't mean there's no happiness at all. Doesn't mean we are meant to perpetually keep suffering or be lost amidst difficulties. Because even in this material realm, we see some reflection of happiness. It only points out, it only serves to point out that, oh, there is a real reality where there is real happiness, where there is where we can find real mangoes of happiness. And what is that real reality? Lord Krishna points out to. It is called the spiritual world. Or technically in Sanskrit, it is called Vaikuntha. Kuntha means misery. So this material world, scriptures call it Kuntha. But the spiritual world is called Vaikuntha, a place without miseries, a place of real happiness. And what happens in this Vaikuntha? Then we began our so now in our journey, in our understanding, we are going higher and higher. We began with this material realm in which we are struggling, and now we are going higher and higher, trying to understand that spiritual realm. And then we saw what happens in that spiritual realm. Would someone like to point out from the previous sessions what happens in Vaikuntha? And yeah, how is that place like?
It's
So-
a home for Atma.
Yeah, wonderful, beautifully put. Vaikuntha is the real home of the Atma. So our real home is not some nice building we may construct for ourselves with nice backyard and all. That may be a temporary home in this material world, but for the Atma, this material world is a foreign place. Because imagine a place where you can be kicked out at any time without any notice. Can you really call it home? Would anyone here like to call such a place home? A place where there's just total uncertainty and you can be kicked out anytime from that place. We naturally wouldn't call it home. So that's the reality of this material world. Is it not true that we could be kicked out anytime? By kicked out, I mean we may die anytime. While crossing the road, if we make a mistake and a car hits us, yeah, we may no more be living in this body. So yes, a place where we can be kicked out anytime. Yeah, that really cannot be called home. So yeah, Vaikuntha is the real home of the Atma. Any other characteristics of Vaikuntha? Do you remember? Who lives in Vaikuntha and how is it a place of real happiness? Who is the center in Vaikuntha? Around whom does the whole reality of Vaikuntha revolve? Is it a democratic type of a place where some elections happen and someday this person is the leader, someday another person is the leader?
Paramatma? Paramatma.
Yes, yeah. There is a central figure in Vaikuntha around whom everything revolves. Everything is meant for that central personality's pleasure. And we too
Krishna.
are meant to give that central personality pleasure. Who was that? Ranjit Prabhu, right? You answered, yes. So in Vaikuntha, God lives there. Or God is also one term describing God is Param Atma. We are Atma, but God is Param Atma. Or sometimes the Atma is also called Brahman. Therefore, there's this statement, Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi means I am Brahman, I am spiritual. So the Atma is also called Brahman, but there is Parabrahman also. Parabrahman is God, Param Atma. Many times people take some statements from Vedic literatures and get confused by them. And there are so many teachers out there who just make a mess out of Vedic statements. Many teachers, they misinterpret these statements and misconstrue some meaning out of it, and they promote teachings like I am God, you're God, everyone is God. This is in one sense an atheistic understanding. It simply diffuses the meaning of God. It makes the meaning of God cheap. I am God, you're God, everyone is God. That whole meaning of God gets diluted then. So yeah, we are not God. We are tiny God-like beings. We are Atma, but God is Param Atma, the Supreme Atma. We are Brahman, but God is Parabrahman, the Supreme Brahman. So yes, in Vaikuntha, there are so many, countless Atmas, but there is one Supreme Atma, Param Atma or Parabrahman. And we are all meant to give pleasure to that Param Atma. And in giving pleasure to that Param Atma or Supreme Atma, there is real happiness for the Atma. In that state, the Atma derives unlimited joy. And now somebody may challenge, oh, what's the proof of this? How can you say it with such confidence? Well, even in this world, we see that spiritual reality reflecting in some sense. So, the real happiness of the Atma, as Vedic scriptures emphatically state, is giving joy to Param Atma. In giving happiness to Param Atma, in serving God, in loving God, in pleasing God, there is real happiness for us. And we see that reality reflecting even in this world. In this world, we see that selfishness doesn't make us happy. Selflessness makes us happy, right? Once one saint, he went to IIT Bombay. He was giving a talk there. He began his talk by this question. And the bright students of IIT did not have an answer. He asked them this question. In selfishness, we apparently gain something, right? Selfishness means attracting things toward me. Selfishness means me-centered. So in selfishness, we try to pull things toward us. We try to amass more, accumulate more and more stuff. So in selfishness, we apparently gain, but still we become miserable. But in selflessness, we apparently lose many things, but still we become happy. How does it work? What are the dynamics based on this, based on which this principle works? So, yeah, the bright minds of IIT did not have an answer because there is no answer at material level. The answer is at spiritual level. And what is the answer at spiritual level? Because it is the nature of Atma to give joy to Paramatma in a selfless way. And in that, there is real joy for the Atma. In giving happiness to God, the Atma also enjoys unlimitedly. So it's amazing, no? When we don't look for happiness for ourselves, but when we try to make God happy, when we try to please God, serve God, love God, in that we become supremely happy. We don't have to actually look for any extraneous ways of somehow squeezing out happiness out of the material realm. Simply by trying to make God happy, by trying to live for the pleasure of God, we become unlimitedly happy. In the beginning, we may find it difficult because for so many lifetimes, we are used to trying to selfishly squeeze out some happiness out of this material realm. So suddenly, overnight, it's not going to happen. But with perseverance, if we continue walking this path of Krishna consciousness, that's why Srila Prabhupada, the founder of ISKCON, what is the full form of ISKCON? Amar Prabhu, do you know the full form of ISKCON?
Indian Society of International Society of Krishna Consciousness.
Yes, wonderful. Yeah. International Society for what? Krishna consciousness. So what does being Krishna conscious mean? It means, yeah, we become so conscious of Krishna that everywhere we look around, we see Krishna. We live for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. We try to live aligned with the will of Lord Krishna. So that is Krishna consciousness. So in Krishna consciousness, there is real happiness for the soul. And gradually, as we continue walking this path of Krishna consciousness, we realize it. We realize how true that is. And I can testify myself that, yeah, in the beginning, I had doubts when I began my journey in 2009. I wondered, when I saw my seniors so sincerely practicing Krishna consciousness, I had doubts. Oh, will I really be able to practice like this? Maybe that's not what I'm meant to do. Okay, let me still try out this process. I had all these doubts. I had big plans. So I'll study so much that I'll do this, I'll do that. And in that, I will find happiness. And yeah, Krishna consciousness can be some side business, something to add some spice to life. Let me practice it. But then when I actually began practicing it more sincerely, I could feel, oh, there is real joy in this, and not in getting material desires fulfilled and all. That time I had desires to make friends with girls, impress girls, and all that. But then, yeah, compared to the joy of Krishna consciousness, even if somebody finds the most beautiful lady in the world, that joy is time bound. It is capped at even in the act of physical union between male and female, that act is strictly capped by the release of semen from the male body. Beyond that point, one cannot continue. So material pleasure is strictly capped. It is time bound. In fact, today we are going to see, God has a message for us in making things temporary, in injecting temporariness in this material realm, in making all pleasures of this material realm temporary. God has a message for us, a powerful message. God is urging us to turn toward reality, to turn toward Him. So, anyways, Vaikuntha is the realm of Krishna consciousness, where everyone is God conscious or Krishna conscious, where everyone lives for the pleasure of God, pleasure of Krishna. And in that we derive supreme happiness. And then we also saw, but then why did we leave such a home? Why did the Atma leave the home and come to this material world? The answer to that is, does someone remember?
Yeah.
I think we had few desires, and because of that we came, and so this body is given to us to realize the unknown, right? Like who is not visible, but to realize and come back.
Vignesh Bro, are you speaking on the basis of our previous sessions or some other place?
Yeah, previous sessions.
Okay.
I think Prabhu, we wanted to play God. Basically we wanted to imitate God. So that is the reason. One of the big reasons that we came to this work.
Yes. Yeah. Wonderful answers, Vignesh Prabhu, Ranjit Prabhu. So Vignesh Prabhu answered, we had some desires. But then in the previous sessions, we also saw, okay, what kind of desire brought us here? So Ranjit Prabhu answered that the desire to play God or the desire to take the position of God brought us here. So, So now God has given the Param Atma or God or Krishna has given us independence. Okay, independence as in free will. Because real love, God, between us and God, there is a bond of real love. And in that real love, there's supreme joy for us. And but real love can never be forced. So God hasn't created us as robotic beings who only follow some instructions. How does a robot function? Any instruction that's given to the robot just follows, right? Turn right, it'll turn right. Turn left, it'll turn left. Move your hand up, it'll move the hand up. So God hasn't God, we exist to give pleasure to God. The sole purpose of our existence is to give pleasure to God by loving God. And God also loves us unlimitedly, reciprocally. So, in fact, it is said in the scriptures when Dhruv, the little boy Dhruv, who was insulted by his stepmother, what was his stepmother's name and what was his real mother's name? Does someone know? The 5-year-old boy Dhruv, who wanted to sit on the lap of his father, King Uttanapad. But his stepmother, who was the favorite queen of the king, she denied him. She said, no, you cannot sit. Who was that stepmother? Suruchi. And who was his mother? Suniti. Suniti was also the wife of King Uttanapad, but she wasn't as dear to him as Suruchi. So Dhruv, he was very hurt. And then he wanted to take some revenge. He went to his mother and he was ambitious. So he told his mother, I want to prove myself. I want a kingdom greater than even not just my father, even my grandfather and great grandfather. So basically, Dhruv's father is Uttanapad, his grandfather is Swayambhuv Manu, and Swayambhuv Manu's father is Lord Brahma. So basically, the great grandfather of Dhruv is Lord Brahma himself. So Dhruv, the little boy, Dhruv, wanted a kingdom greater than Lord Brahma also. So then Suniti, his mother, said, only Lord Vishnu can fulfill this desire of yours, because Lord Vishnu is above Lord Brahma. In some other advanced level sessions, after this series is over, we'll have an advanced series. In that, we will discuss who are the demigods, what are the respective positions of the demigods. Right now, I'll just mention this much, that Lord Brahma also is a post. Lord Brahma is not a permanent designation to someone like Prime Minister. It's a post, right? Today it's Narendra Modi, or in the US, there's one president today. Tomorrow it may be somebody else. So similarly, Lord Brahma is a post. Today, one personality is taking that post. Tomorrow, it will be some other personality occupying that post. So, yes. Now, So Dhruv Maharaj, he wanted a kingdom even greater than Lord Brahma. And only Lord Vishnu, he said, only Lord Vishnu can fulfill this desire. And in this connection, Suniti says to her son, Dhruv, that Lord Vishnu's love is more than millions of mothers' love combined together. Can you imagine? A mother's love in this world is so selfless, right? It's so selfless. You must have observed your own mother or observed somebody else's mother. A mother is just willing to go out of her way to do anything for the happiness of her child, right? So in the material realm, a mother's love for her child is closest to spiritual love. But still, it is nowhere in comparison to that. But still, it is the highest in this material world. Now, Mother Suniti says to Dhruv that Lord Vishnu's love or God's love for us is much more than even millions of mothers' love combined together. So that much is God's love for us. And at the spiritual level, we also love God unlimitedly. And in that, we derive unlimited joy. So there is a bond of real love between the Atma and Param Atma. However, real love cannot be forced. Like a robot just follows instructions. But real love, for there to be real love, it cannot be forced. Real love has to come from one's own free will or from one's own volition. So therefore, God has given every Atma some minute independence. The independence to either love God or to not love God. Now, those living entities who misuse that free will, it's a very small fraction of living entities who misuse that free will. For such living entities, God creates this material realm. So what usually typically happens when a living entity misuses that free will, and instead of loving God, chooses to be a selfish, self-centered enjoyer. So for such living entities, they develop this kind of a thought, oh, why is he God? Why not me? Why everything for Krishna's pleasure? Why not for my pleasure? So for such living entities, God creates this material realm, which is a toy-like setup where they can try to enjoy. But God has very wonderfully created this arrangement in such a way that we can try out, but then we will even get frustrated here. And then we will want to turn toward reality. So this material world is very beautifully created in that sense. So, and we are going to see that in today's session. Okay. Any quick points until now? Vignesh Prabhu had some point, right? You were raising your hand some time back. Or has it been answered?
I think it was answered. Prabhu.
Okay. Thank you.
Prabhu, I had a quick question.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, we have two systems. One is, say, the spiritual, reward system, and the other one is, the societal reward system, or like materialistic reward system. Whether it is money, fame, power, wealth, money, so
Yeah.
anything. So the spiritual reward system, is always conflicting on, the societal reward system or materialistic reward system. So how do you deal with that conflict? And is there a way that we can, make them overlap?
Yeah, right. Very nice question. It's worth pondering over. It's a very important question for all spiritual practitioners. So yeah, Ranjit Prabhu's question, I'll paraphrase it in my own words, is yeah, the society rewards us for certain things. The society may reward us for if we do certain things in a certain way, the society may consider us heroic. Say somebody is good at impressing ladies and making good impression on them. The society looks up to such a person as a hero. But the spiritual reward system is quite different. Somebody who may just look like an ordinary person may be very dear in the eyes of God, may be very exalted spiritually. Whereas somebody who may look like a hero in the society, at a spiritual level, it may all be zero. There may be no real inner substance in such a person. So yeah, for us spiritual practitioners, yeah, we definitely prioritize the spiritual reward system over the material reward system, over the societal reward system. It doesn't mean we completely leave the society. Some of us may be family men having wife and children. I know Hari Krishna Prabhu is married and has a child. Today I got to know that even Tarun Prabhu is married. Do you have a child, Prabhu?
No.
Okay, yeah.
Mm.
So, yeah, we are not saying leave the society, but the point is, let's make God as our dearmost personality, and God is the most worthy of being pleased and impressed. For the sake of pleasing God, impressing God, it's okay even if we have to face some defamation in the society. To become popular in the society, if we have to forget God, of what use is such popularity? It's temporary. But to please God, to go closer to God, if we have to face some, if we become unpopular in the society or infamous in the society, then yeah, that's okay. Anyways, the fame in the material society is not everlasting. So yeah, we always value the spiritual side more than the material side. It doesn't mean we neglect our bodily needs or our societal needs also. Yes. Yeah, we take care of our societal responsibilities also nicely. However, if there is a direct clash between the spiritual and the material, then we prioritize the spiritual. So, but usually they can go hand in hand. It's not that only if we become a thorough loser in the material society, then only then can we get God. No, not necessarily. We can continue doing our jobs. We can continue with our studies. We can do well in those fields also. But we can always keep God as our highest priority. And in very certain rare cases, if at all there's a question of, okay, to achieve God, if I have to give up on all these things, yeah, one is ready to do it. But those are very rare cases where you may be faced with a situation where either this or that. Then yeah, definitely we prioritize God. Knowing that, yeah, our relationship with God is timeless. It is beyond the time factor. But our relationship with the material society around, it's time bound. As soon as I leave this body, I'll have nothing to do with the company I'm working for or the colleagues I'm working with. So yeah, thank you, Ranjit Prabhu, for that question. Okay, we'll move forward now.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a quick question for you. Which of the following is aligned with Gita's perspective? You may even put your answers in the chat. Multiple options may be correct. Option 1, this material world is the ultimate reality and the be all and end all. Then option 2, this material world is our real home. Option 3, everything is an illusion and we have no home at all. And option 4, this material world is just a reflection of the Atma's real home. Option 5, the Atma is a resident of the spiritual world or Vaikuntha. So which of these 5 is correct? Multiple options could be correct. So, okay.
4 and 5. 4 and
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Yes. Yeah, wonderful answers. Yeah, the answer is 4 and 5. Both are correct. The material world is just a reflection of the Atma's real home. And the Atma's real home is Vaikuntha, or the spiritual world. Okay, thank you. Now, yeah. Is atheism really more scientific and rational compared to theism? What do you think? Sometimes theists or believers in God, they are a little afraid of facing atheists because they think that atheism is more scientific. And maybe I'll be considered unscientific if I present my theistic views. But do you really think atheism is more scientific? No, we can boldly present theism and in a scientific way also. Firstly, we can blow the balloon of atheism that makes them think that they are more scientific. Atheism is also another belief. As much as theism is a faith and a belief, atheism is also a faith and a belief. It's not that science is on the side of atheism. Science is just a neutral field that teaches people to manipulate matter in certain ways and create amenities out of it. And both theists as well as atheists have contributed to science, isn't it? Any technological advancement that we see around, say, for example, iPhone or Android phone or whatever, do you think only atheists have written the code for it? No, so many theists have written the code for it. So many theists have contributed to designing the chips and designing the hardware. So yeah, it's not that atheism is more scientific. So it's another belief, just like theism is a belief. Just like atheism may point out toward theism and say, can you show me God? Can you prove God? We can also point out fingers at atheists and say, we can ask them fervently, okay, can you show us all those millions of years of random reactions that you say are the cause of everything? Can you show us all those random reactions? They also cannot show us. In fact, God is more provable than all these millions and billions of years of random reactions, they say, that have led to everything. Because for them, they somehow want to reject God, right? So they put their faith in some random reactions which have happened over millions of years. Isn't that a faith? They also haven't seen those so-called random millions of years of random reactions that have led to everything. They have no proof for that. So yeah, it's not that atheism is any more scientific than theism. It's just another belief or another faith, like theism. We can boldly present this. So, okay, next question. What is the dharma of the soul or the Atma? Dharma means an intrinsic quality of something that cannot be separated from it. Like the dharma of sugar is to be sweet. If some white powder is not sweet, then we conclude that it's not sugar. If some white powder is not salty, then we conclude that it's not salt. So, yeah, dharma means an intrinsic quality that cannot be separated from something. If it is separated, then yeah, that thing loses its meaning. So yeah, what is the dharma of the soul? Option 1, to watch Bollywood movies or Telugu movies or whatever, South Indian. There's a big movie industry even in South India, right? In fact, I've heard it's bigger than Bollywood also. So to watch Bollywood movies, is that the dharma of the soul? To become a politician, is that the dharma of the soul? Or to love and serve Param Atma or God, is that the dharma of the soul? Or is it to get at least 1 million followers on Instagram? Which of these four do you think is the dharma of the soul? Obvious, no?
Third.
Third, yes. Yeah, C. Option C or option 3. Thank you. Then, which of the following is true about the relationship between the Atma and the Param Atma? Option 1. Would someone like to read out? Amar Prabhu, would you like to?
We are tiny, infinitesimal parts of the supreme whole, Paramatma or God. We are exactly the same as God in quantity as well as quality. There is no difference at all.
Option 3.
We are qualitatively like God, just like a drop from the ocean is qualitatively like the entire ocean.
Okay, yeah, just 3 options. Okay. Yeah, this may be a slightly tricky question. So what are the answers?
1 and 3 first.
Okay. Rajat Prabhu is saying option 1 and 3. Okay. Shreyas Prabhu also. Tarun Prabhu says only 3. Okay. Yeah, actually it's both 1 and 3. So yeah, we are tiny, infinitesimal parts of the supreme whole or Param Atma. So yeah, we are tiny amshas of God. Lord Krishna himself says in the Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, 7th verse, Mama evamsho jiva loke jiva bhutah sanatanah manah shashtanindriyani prakritisthani karshati. Mama evamsho jiva loke. Mama eva amsha jiva loke. All the jivas are my amshas. So yeah, we are parts of God, the supreme whole. And option 3 is saying we are qualitatively like God. Just like if we take a drop out of an ocean, the salt quantity, the salty taste of that drop will be the same as the salty taste of the entire ocean. However, that drop is so tiny compared to the ocean. So similarly, like God, we are also sentient beings. Sentient as in we can think, we can feel, we can make decisions. Similarly, God also thinks, feels, makes decisions, but God's consciousness is supremely big. Our consciousness is tiny. So, yeah, we are like tiny models of God, like, or you can say, yeah, from a huge sack of sugar, we are like a small ball of sugar. Or from the entire ocean, we are like a small drop. So qualitatively, we are like God, but quantitatively, God is infinite. We are tiny. So let's try to clearly understand this. Qualitative oneness with God, but quantitatively, we are tiny. God is infinite. Some people have confusion in this. They think, I am only God. I am God, you're God, everyone is God. This sounds like nice. This sounds nice to some people's ears, but it's misleading. How can we be God? We cannot control even our own bowels and hunger, thirst. How do we call ourselves God? It's in one sense shameless to call anybody God. To call a tiny living being God, it's a shameless thing. So, yes, we are God-like, but we are not God. Now, in what state are we, the Atmas, most happy? Would anyone like to answer that? It's a subjective question, no options here, but sorry, I'll turn off WhatsApp.
Spiritual practice, spiritual journey.
Sorry, what did you say, Hari Krishna Prabhu?
To following more into the spiritual journey and be spiritual and have prasad.
Hmm.
There
But
are
Service, Prabhu.
what is all of this meant to take us toward? Just having
Is it-
prasad, yeah, it is a spiritual activity, but yeah,
So is it
is it
service,
meant?
Prabhu?
Yes, yeah. Service to whom?
To
God.
to God,
To
to
God.
Krishna.
Yeah. Right. So yes, in loving God, in serving God, in pleasing God, the Atmas are most happy. And to take us toward that goal, we have so many activities like taking prasad, and we follow our spiritual practices. And they make us so joyful and happy. Okay, yeah. So the relationship between us and God is like that between a child and a parent. Just like parents give birth to a child to expand their joy, right? So similarly, God, we exist. Our existence is there to give pleasure to God. And there's nothing selfish on part of God to have us for his joy. Because, yeah, he's even sharing that joy with us. Just like a parent gives birth to a child to expand their own joy, and in return, they give so much joy to that child also. So similarly, God creating us is not something some people ask like that. Oh, God created us for his joy, but then, yeah, isn't that selfish? Well, if we were only miserable in giving pleasure to God, then yes, then God's creating us to give him pleasure could have been called selfish. But no, in giving pleasure to God, we derive supreme pleasure. We derive so much happiness. So yeah, God's having us for his joy is not a selfish thing actually, because in return, we also enjoy so much. Such existence to give pleasure to God is much better than non-existence. Non-existence means zero level. No happiness, no misery also. We just don't exist. But when we exist and we are happy in existing, isn't that a much better position to be in? Where we are existing and we are very happy in existing. So that is the state of being in connection with God. It's much better than non-existence. Some people, seeing the miseries of this world, they desire non-existence. Some spiritual paths are built on top of this understanding that nirvana means to make your existence zero. Specifically, Buddhism talks about this. The word nirvana is there in Bhagavad Gita also. Brahma nirvana mritchati, second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the last verse, 72nd verse, 2.72. The word nirvana is there in Bhagavad Gita. But what is the Bhagavad Gita's understanding of nirvana? Bhagavad Gita's understanding of nirvana is that highest state. It is higher than non-existence, where we exist, where we are fully conscious and we are existing in connection with God, giving pleasure to God. And in return, we also derive supreme pleasure. So that is the idea of nirvana according to Bhagavad Gita. Hmm? So, yes, then we saw how having forgotten God and searching for happiness in this world is like searching for a key in a place where it we lost our key somewhere else, but we are searching for it at another place. Hmm? It's absurd, right? We will never find it there. Hmm? So similarly, we lost the key to real happiness in the spiritual world because we forgot God. We have come to this material world. We wanted to play God. Hmm? We wanted to be God. Hmm? So yeah, in such an artificial position, we really cannot be happy. Hmm? But still, we are somehow trying to squeeze out happiness. So that process itself is absurd. Trying to be happy without God. Many politicians in the past, they have spoken about establishing Ram Rajya. Ram Rajya was so perfect, right? When Lord Ram was present. The kingdom he ruled, oh, it was such a perfect place of happiness because God himself had descended into this world. And yeah, this world also became like Vaikuntha. So even though this is still a temporary world, but the same atmosphere which exists in Vaikuntha existed when Lord Ram was present or when Lord Krishna was present. So yeah, this world itself can become Vaikuntha if God comes and lives here. So, however, the absurd thing is many politicians in the past, they have said, we want to establish Ram Rajya, but they want to do it without Lord Ram. How can Ram Rajya exist without Ram? So basically, politicians who make promises to people that we will make this world happy, but they want to make this world happy in forgetfulness of God. So in forgetfulness of God, this material world cannot be a happy place. It will still remain a foreign place for the Atma. The real home for the Atma is with God. So the real key to our happiness is with God in the spiritual world. Or even if God comes into this material world for the time being, yeah, then this material world also becomes as good as the spiritual world. So yes, our search for happiness in forgetfulness of God is absurd. It is like searching for a key where it was never lost. The key was lost at one place and I am searching for it in another place. It's absurd. Yeah, then we had also seen how, now we saw the nature of God. I'll briefly walk through these slides. God has no limitations or there are no laws acting on God. In fact, all laws come from God. Even the time factor comes from God. The time factor exists only in this material realm of matter. It doesn't exist in the spiritual realm. So, now we dealt with this question. Why then does God have to act? We see that in this world, we act to make some ends meet, right? We have to act in this world. We have to do a job because we have our bellies to feed. And food doesn't come in front of us for free. To even make sure that we have a daily plate of food in front of us 2 or 3 times a day, however many meals we take, to make sure that we have a plate of food in front of us, we have to work hard. We have to do a job. So, yeah, we act in this world to make ends meet. But now in the spiritual world, God has no obligations. He has no ends to meet. It's not that because in this world, there are forces like hunger, thirst. We have to sleep every day. So to even satisfy these forces, we have to act in this world. But in the spiritual world, these forces do not impose any restrictions on God or even on Atmas. But still, God acts in the spiritual world. In fact, it's a very dynamic place. The spiritual world is not a boring or a static place where nothing is happening, no interesting things are happening. All parties happen only in this material world, not in the spiritual world. No, it's not like that. The spiritual world has the supreme types of parties happening. They are purer. They are supremely pure parties, not like the dirty parties of this world with drugs, alcohol, and all. The spiritual world is always party, actually. Always happiness. There's no misery there. One is always happy in connection with God in the spiritual world. So it's like a place of constant party. And it's pure party. It's not an impure type of party. So, yeah, now we may ask, okay, why does God act then? Would anyone like to answer? It's a subjective question. No multiple choice here. Anyone?
What's
You
the question, Prabhu? Why God?
Why God acts then? There are no limitations or laws acting on God. In this world, because there are limitations or laws acting on us, like the force of hunger, thirst, sleep, we have to act in this world because to
Yeah.
satisfy my hunger, I have to do some job.
Yeah.
In the spiritual world, God, who is unlimited, has no laws acting on him. Why then does he act? That's the question.
Because of the love for the devotees. Because
Yes.
of the love.
Yeah, wonderful answer. Any other answers? Yeah, it's in fact quite close to the actual answer. But specifically, yeah, because of love for his devotees. But then again,
We're his children, so I mean, he's not gonna act against the interest of the children.
yeah. But does he live for us or do we live for him? Actually, our existence is for him.
Yes.
It's not that he exists for us. We exist for him. Then, yeah, okay, fine. We act for his pleasure, but then why does God also act?
As we say that we are children of God. So if we commit some mistake, so he's not pleased in that way. So that maybe I think then he acts. And
Okay, that is in this world, but we are talking about the spiritual world now. So in the spiritual world, where there is no pap or punya, where yeah, we just live with God in joy. Why does
For his
God act?
pastimes.
Yes, and why those pastimes? To expand his joy and our joy also. So actions in the spiritual world, they are not there to make some ends meet, like to satisfy some hunger or thirst. Actions in the spiritual world happen just to expand joy. Whose joy? God's joy as well as our joy. And such actions performed by God to
Sorry
expand.
to interrupt, Prabhu.
Yeah.
I have a question on pastimes, Prabhu. What does pastime exactly mean? It's pastime is an English word, so there is probably it's not a good translation.
Yeah.
Because
The Sanskrit word is Leela.
Leela. Because dimension of time, I don't think exists in Vaikuntha.
Yeah. Yes, even though there's no time in Vaikuntha, doesn't mean there's nothing happening there. It's a static place. Everything inert, there, nothing happening. Again, we are applying physics to understand the spiritual world. Let's forget physics for now. Even with our physics, chemistry, no matter how much expert we may be at it, the spiritual world, it's beyond our comprehension. We can understand something about it, but to get the whole experience of it, we have to go back there. Only then we will understand what it is. So the spiritual world, yes, there is no time there. But what does it mean? Time doesn't deteriorate anything there. So everything is just happening eternally. Hmm? It's just happening eternally. And it's a happening place. It's not
I
any
think,
static place. Hmm?
yeah. So I think, Prabhu, because we don't have a body and blood, all that, right? That's why, right? Because it's soul.
Yes.
Here we are suffering because of body. We have mood changes. That's why today we are good. Tomorrow we are like
Hmm.
confused and yeah.
Yeah. The body, as you pointed out, is under the time factor. The
Yeah.
body made of blood vessels and all. So basically,
Exactly.
the gross body and even the subtle body, it's under the time factor. But the
But
soul
yeah.
is not under the time factor. The Atma or Paramatma is beyond the time factor. And the realm of Vaikuntha is a realm where there's no time factor. Okay, yeah.
Hmm.
So, yeah, coming back to this point, why does God act? God simply acts to expand his joy and our joy. And these actions of God, they are called Leela. Hmm? So Leela means an act of God, an act performed by God, or even by God's devotees. Sometimes that is also called Leela. But primarily, we use the word Leela to describe God's activities. Activities which simply expand God's joy and our joy also, his devotees' joy. Hmm? So that is Leela. So a rough translation of the word Leela in English is pastime, as Ranjit Prabhu brought up. And then, by the way, we are doing a thorough recap of everything we have seen so far. And then we will end with some additional topic which we did not cover last time. It's a very important topic. We will cover that. So yeah, now I'll briefly go through some more slides which are still a part of the recap, because this topic is so important that, and also we had a gap of a few weeks. So I thought it's very essential that we thoroughly recap this. So now another subjective question. Do Atmas have a spontaneous attraction for the Paramatma? Okay, to live for God's pleasure, to live for the Param Atma's pleasure, we must have some attraction, right, for God or for Paramatma. So do we feel any such spontaneous attraction for God? What do you think? Is God attractive to the Atmas? Yes, God is really very attractive for us. In fact, God is irresistibly attractive for us. Even in this world, a beautiful woman is somewhat irresistibly attractive, right, to a man. We are all in male bodies, and yeah, we know the kind of attraction we may feel toward a beautiful woman. If a woman has very attractive features, shapely parts, shapely breasts, and all that, the man's mind gets irresistibly attracted there. Now, a woman's beauty is so tiny compared to God's beauty. It is said in this world also there are so many beautiful women, but even the most beautiful woman of this world is much, much less beautiful than the least beautiful woman in heavenly realms. Heavens are higher realms in the material world itself. By the way, heaven and Vaikuntha are different. Swarga and Vaikuntha are different. Some people confuse them. Swarga Lok is a better place in the material world. But Vaikuntha is a timeless realm. That's where Atmas live with God. Swarga is just a better place in the material world. Like even on this planet Earth, we see some countries which are Swarga-like, closer to the standard of living is like Swarga, somewhat closer to Swarga. Some countries which have mediocre living standards, and some countries where the standards of living, there's so much suffering there. It's closer to the lower realms, the hellish realms. So even on this Prithvi, on this Earth, planet Earth, we can see different gradations. So yeah, Swarga and Vaikuntha are different. Okay, so now even the most beautiful woman of this world, this earth, is much, much less beautiful than the least beautiful woman of heavenly realms. And such gradations are given. And then those heavenly ladies are also nothing compared to the beauty of Lakshmi Devi. And then Lakshmi Devi's beauty also is far, far surpassed by the gopis of Vrindavan. And among them, the topmost beauty is of Srimati Radharani. These are higher esoteric topics. Okay, I just briefly touched upon them, but okay, let's keep it aside for now. So anyways, the point is, even in this world, we may feel some irresistible attraction toward, say, some beautiful woman or whatever. Somebody may feel irresistible attraction to something else, to some other personality, whatever. How attractive God must be, who is the origin of all of this. Yes, the scriptures point out God is supremely attractive and irresistibly attractive. God is in fact so attractive that forgetting God is also difficult actually. When we are attracted to somebody, it's difficult to forget that person, right? When somebody's beauty just captures us so much, beauty or some other quality of some person captures us so much, we cannot stop thinking about that person, whoever we are attracted to. Not just physical beauty. I gave one example. There are 6 parameters of attraction, which we will see. We have discussed it in the previous sessions. So somebody who is beautiful or somebody who is very strong, we get attracted to that person also. Or somebody who is intelligent, very highly intelligent, we get attracted to that person also. Say Albert Einstein here. He is the intelligent person in this, among these 6. Then Muhammad Ali, the top left, he represents strength. And then Ronald Reagan, I think, represents fame. Then Michael Jackson, wealth. Somebody who is very rich is also attractive. And somebody who has the quality of renunciation is also very attractive. And then there's one lady here. Yeah, her picture is there to demonstrate the quality of beauty, physical beauty. So anybody who has any of these 6 parameters of attraction, we feel attracted to that person. Say Albert Einstein is passing by, we will all look there. Oh, देखो कौन जा रहा है? Albert Einstein जा रहा है. Look there, look there. Everyone will look there. Similarly, the other factors of attraction. Now, God is somebody who has all these parameters in full, in unlimited quantity. How attractive God must be. So, yeah, even in this world, it's difficult to forget somebody who is attractive. So, to even forget God, and this material world is a realm of forgetfulness of God. Living entities who wanted to play God, God has created a toy-like setup for us where we can try to forget him. But still, to even forget God, there's another powerful energy required that makes us forget God. And what is that energy called? One word.
Maya.
Maya, yes. So forgetting God is also not easy. So to enable us to forget God, God has created such an energy called Maya that enables us to forget God. So we are going to talk a little bit about Maya today. Okay, so now God is all attractive. Therefore, one name of God is Krishna. Krishna means he who is all attractive. In fact, derived from the word Krishna is a Sanskrit root called Akrisht, which means attraction. And the Hindi word Akarshan or even the English word attraction, they are derived from this Sanskrit root. English derives a lot of its words from Latin, and Latin derives a lot of its words from Sanskrit. Sanskrit is the mother of many languages all over the world, in fact. So the word Krishna means he who is all attractive. So Lord Krishna is supremely attractive. So yeah, somebody who becomes irresistibly attracted to Lord Krishna is a very, very fortunate soul. But to come to that stage, we have to cross the hurdle of Maya. So our today's topic was supposed to be crossing the ocean of material existence. We will discuss some parts of that. So now, why did we leave our real home and such a loving Lord and Master? As we discussed some time back, we wanted to play God. We misused our independence. Okay, why is he God? Why not me? So for such souls, God has created this material world, which is like a virtual reality. So just like a small girl may see her mother cooking, and then she may also insist, Mother, mother, why are you the only one cooking? Let me also cook. Now the mother knows if she lets her little darling daughter start cooking, her daughter will either burn herself or she will burn the food. So what does the mother do? Next time she goes for shopping, along with all the grocery and all, she also gets a mini kitchen set for her daughter. And then the daughter joyfully plays with it. Then in that mini kitchen set, while playing with that mini kitchen set, the daughter gets fully absorbed in it. And she thinks, oh yes, I'm also cooking. But actually she is hardly doing anything. So similarly, this material world is like a virtual reality. It's like that mini toy-like kitchen, that toy kitchen set, where the daughter is thinking she is cooking, but actually she is not doing anything substantial. So similarly, this material world is a virtual reality that God has created for us who wanted to enjoy separately from God, who wanted to play the role of God. Why is Krishna God? Why not me? So for such souls, Lord Krishna has created this world. Okay, Lord Krishna, being the most perfect gentleman, yeah, he gave us this opportunity. Okay, my dear child, you want to play like me? You want to take my position and see? Okay, I'll create a toy-like setup for you where you can try it out. So in this world, we can see all living entities around are trying to be the central figure, to be the center of attraction, to be the center of all enjoyment. We can see it happening right around. Would anyone deny this? So we can see this happening around. So this material world is a virtual reality, a toy-like setup. Now, in Bhagavad Gita 7.4 and 7.5, let's see what Lord Krishna is talking about this toy-like setup. Yeah, he speaks about this material world. Hare Krishna Prabhu, would you like to read this on the slides?
Yeah. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 constitute my separated material energies.
Yeah, Krishna is calling the Pancha Mahabhut, earth, water, fire, air, ether, which make up our gross body. And then what are the next 3 items? Mind, intelligence, and false ego. These 3 items make our subtle body. So Krishna is saying all these 8 are his separated material energies. So our mind, intelligence, and false ego, they are also material elements. They are not spiritual. Now Krishna is saying, next verse, would you like to read again, Prabhu?
Besides this, O
Besides
mighty,
what? Besides the 8 items which he mentioned earlier. So besides the before mentioned 8 items, yeah, please read ahead.
besides this, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mine, which comprises the living entities who are exploring the resources of this material. Sorry, who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature.
Yeah. So Krishna is describing the situation of living entities in this material world. He is not describing the Vaikuntha situation. He's talking about the material world now. In the previous verse, Krishna spoke about material elements. There are the gross material elements and subtle material elements, like the mind, intelligence, false ego. Now Krishna is saying, besides these, there is another superior energy, what is that superior energy? We, the Atmas. The Atmas are from the spiritual world. The Atmas are spiritual energy of Krishna. So we are eternal and we are timeless. But right now we are caught up in this material world. Caught up amidst what? Amidst the apparatus of all the material elements. The five, Pancha Mahabhut, earth, water, fire, air, ether, and the three subtle elements, mind, intelligence, false ego. So we are caught up amidst these. So we are, in fact, the body we are living in is made up of these. The gross body is made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether, and the subtle body is made up of mind, intelligence, false ego. So we are living amidst this apparatus. And what are we doing with this apparatus? Krishna is saying, we are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. So Krishna is calling the material energy as the inferior energy. Yeah, because it is dead matter, right? Atma is superior to dead matter. The Atma moves the dead matter around. Consciousness is definitely higher than dead matter, right? So Krishna is calling this the material energy as inferior energy, and Krishna is calling us, the Atmas, as his superior energy. And what is this superior energy? Krishna's energy, who comes from Vaikuntha. What are we, the Atmas, who are residents of Vaikuntha? After having come to this material world, what are we doing in this material world? We are exploiting the resources of this material world. Or in other words, we are somehow trying to squeeze out happiness out of this material, inferior energy of Krishna. So yeah, that is our state of existence. Somehow trying to squeeze out happiness out of this material realm of matter. But as we have seen in the previous slides, in all our discussions so far, real happiness exists in the spiritual world, in our relationship with God, and not in exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. In fact, say for example, could someone answer this based on this verse of Bhagavad Gita? How would you say that, say, a boy looks at a beautiful girl and feels attracted, he wants to have romance with her? How does that scenario fit into what Lord Krishna is saying here? How is a boy is getting attracted to a girl, a beautiful girl? How does that amount to exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature? Would someone like to explain this? Shreyas Prabhu, would you like to explain how would a boy? Yeah.
Maya?
sorry.
What were okay, Maya, we'll see that later. But Shreyas Prabhu, did you?
Yeah. So question was, if I'm not wrong, a boy is kind of attracted to a woman, then we are
how does this statement apply to that boy then? That boy is also exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. How would this statement of Lord Krishna hold true in the case of a boy getting attracted to a girl and wanting to enjoy some romantic pleasure from her?
Prabhu, it reminds me of one of the previous sessions. You spoke about Jnanendriya, sense organs. So I think sense pleasure, sense gratification.
Yes, yeah, wonderful. He wants to enjoy sense pleasure, yes. So basically, yeah, exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature, how does it apply in the case of, say, a boy getting attracted to a beautiful girl and wanting to enjoy romantic pleasure with her? Basically, he's also, in that scenario, he is also exploiting the resources of this material nature, because he's seeing that beautiful girl's body as a nice object of enjoyment. Oh, if I simply bring this beautiful lady's body in contact with my body will derive pleasure out of it. So basically, he's exploiting two types of material energy here. One is that lady's body, which is made up of matter. So he's in one sense exploiting that matter. And even his own body, which is also made of matter, he is exploiting it to somehow squeeze out some happiness out of it, to squeeze out some pleasure out of it. So, yeah. So basically, living entities who come to this material world, leaving Vaikuntha, the place of real happiness, they somehow, the tendency to look for happiness still exists. In Vaikuntha, it is satisfied to its fullest extent. In Vaikuntha, the happiness-seeking Atma gets unlimited happiness in the company of God. But having forgotten God and having come to this realm of matter, he tries to get that same happiness by exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature, by somehow trying to squeeze out happiness out of this material nature. So, yes. So that is our situation in this world. Now, we'll end in the next 15 minutes or so. Now, we also saw what does God mean to most pious people in this world. Even for most pious people, God simply means an order supplier. Yeah, God exists for me. God is the fulfiller of my desires. So, even most pious people who may believe in God, they actually don't understand God. And they actually don't understand the purpose of God and the purpose of creation. And sorry, they don't understand the purpose of God creating this world. So, yeah, though they may have faith in God, the understanding of God is distorted. So, for most pious people in this world, the understanding of God is God exists for me, or God is the fulfiller of my desires. But for an advanced spiritualist in Krishna consciousness, in ISKCON, what are we being taught? That God is not the fulfiller of my desires, but God is the fulfillment of all my desires. Isn't that an advanced state of consciousness? So, on the path of Krishna consciousness, our understanding is God does not exist to fulfill my desires. I exist to fulfill God's desires. I am meant to be aligned with God, not that God is meant to be aligned with me. Many people, they don't understand Lord Ram's actions in Mahabharata, or they don't understand and appreciate Lord Krishna's actions in Mahabharata, or Lord Ram's actions in Ramayana. Why? Because they are thinking God should be aligned with their standard of goodness and badness. But if only people had a higher consciousness that no, God is not meant to be aligned with my box of standards. God is not meant to be fit into my box of definitions of what is good and bad. I am meant to fit in the box of God. I am meant to be aligned with God. So those who think like this, they are much more advanced in their consciousness. That I live for God, I exist for God, or God is the fulfillment of my desires, not that God is the fulfiller of my desires. So, yeah, for most people, God exists for me. That's how they think. But those who are advanced, they realize that, oh, God has a wonderful personal life also, and we too are a part of it. So basically, in the spiritual world, God exists and God has wonderful leelas there. And I too am a part of that. And I'm meant to be aligned with His will. I'm meant to give God pleasure, not the other way around. But of course, in return, yes, when we live for God's pleasure, God fills us with unlimited happiness. So, although we don't expect God to make us happy, but still, in the process of giving joy to God, we derive unlimited joy. Although in the first place, we don't approach God so that we will get joy by serving Him. We approach God only for God's joy. That is real selfless love. But okay, in the beginning, fine. If that is not motivating us so much, fine. Let us at least approach God with this understanding that by serving God, I will also derive unlimited pleasure. In the beginning, it's okay to approach with this understanding. But gradually, we evolve our consciousness to the highest. We attempt to evolve our consciousness that let me live for God's pleasure only. Yeah, we discussed this. Then we saw how we are all connected with Paramatma. We are like children to Paramatma, and we are like siblings to each other. So how is it? With each other, how are we like? Siblings, right? And for God, how are we like? We are like children to God. We are like children to God and siblings to each other. Now we saw it's not pleasant. It's not always a pleasant experience taking care of all the needs of even one child. Parents have such tough time keeping their children happy, right? Always happy. What to speak of there being multiple children? To take care of the needs of multiple children, it's even tougher. Our attention gets divided, right? If a couple has one child, they can give all their attention to that child. But still, it's difficult to keep that child always happy. What to speak of having 10 children? Their attention will get divided among all the children. Now, how many children does God have? As many Atmas as there exist. And there are trillions and quadrillions and zillions of Atmas. Countless, actually. Because we are not just counting human beings, we are counting other species also. And not just in this universe, in so many other universes. And these are only material universes. There's the spiritual realm of Vaikuntha. There are many more souls there. Just a small fraction of souls live in these material universes. Just a tiny fraction who have misused their independence. So can you imagine how many children God has? Yet, what is God saying in 18.57? Chetasa sarva karmani mai sanyasya matparah buddhiyogamupashritya machittah satatam bhava. Would someone like to read this translation? Krishna is saying this to Arjuna, and not just Arjuna, he's saying it to all of us.
In all activities, just depend upon me and work, always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me.
Wow, isn't it amazing? Krishna is saying this to each and every one of us. Now, why did we see all those parents' examples? It becomes difficult to take care of multiple children. Just to see that Krishna, although he has unlimited children, to each child he is saying, just depend upon me and always work under my protection. In such consciousness, be fully conscious of me. And I will make sure to take care of you. He's saying it to each and every one of us. Who but God can make such a promise? So, God has the capacity to give full attention to each and every one of us. God, although God has unlimited children, his attention, because God is not limited like us. When we talk about limited things, they get divided as the number of people who exist increases. When the number of people increases, a constant resource gets divided among those many people, and therefore it reduces in quantity. How much each person will get reduces. Suppose there are 10 people and there's just one piece of cake, every person will get 1/10 of it. But if there are 20 people, every person gets only 1/20th of it. So it reduces. But God's attention to every living entity doesn't reduce. he being unlimited, he can simultaneously give attention to Amar Prabhu, to Hari Krishna Prabhu, to Shrivas Chandra Das, myself, to Vignesh Prabhu, Ranjit Prabhu, Shreyas Prabhu, Tarun Prabhu. Let me read out everyone's names. Sagar Rao Prabhu, Rajat Prabhu, Surya Prabhu. Krishna can give attention to each and every one of us. And isn't that amazing? Such a wonderful reciprocator of love is God. In fact, the scriptures say each one of us has a unique relationship with God. And each one of us can give some unique type of pleasure to God. Whatever unique pleasure Hari Krishna Prabhu can give to God, Amar Prabhu cannot give. Whatever unique pleasure Amar Prabhu can give to God, I cannot give. That's how wonderful it is. And knowing this, our respect for each other increases. In the spiritual world, we even love and respect each other. Besides loving God, how do we respect each other and we see each other at a higher pedestal than myself? Say, for example, from my perspective, in the spiritual world, I'll see all others like this. Hey, this soul, say Amar Prabhu, he gives Krishna a certain type of pleasure which I cannot give. So therefore, Amar Prabhu is worthy of my worship and honor. And yes, it is also a fact that I can give some unique pleasure to Krishna which Amar Prabhu cannot give, but I don't focus on that. I don't focus on facts that may make me look superior. I focus on facts that make me see other devotees superior to myself. So in that way, everyone in the spiritual world is even humble and very respectful toward each other and very loving toward each other. So that's how the spiritual world is a place of perfect happiness. So what exactly happens in the spiritual world? All wonderful pastimes of joy. Krishna is surrounded by cows and beautifully mooing moo. Krishna is known as Govinda or Gopal. So yeah, it's a dynamic place. And even when Krishna descended into this world 5,000 years ago, whatever happens in the spiritual world, Krishna showed a sample of that in the material world. So it's not that Krishna is temporary. Only for some time he came and after his avatar karya was over, he went and there's no more Krishna. No, Krishna eternally exists in the spiritual realm. Even Lord Ram, he eternally exists in another realm. And Lord Ram and Lord Krishna are the same personality, the same Lord, God, but in multiple forms. And among all these forms, it is said Krishna's form is the sweetest. These are more esoteric truths we will discuss in our advanced series. So, God is having wonderful leelas in the spiritual world. In last month, we celebrated Damodar month, commemorating one sweet leela where Lord Krishna allows Mother Yashoda to tie him up to a wooden grinding mortar. By this leela, Lord Krishna showed how he becomes conquered by the love of his devotees. So, these are the sweet dealings that happen in the spiritual world. Now, how do we revive our relationship with God and go back to the spiritual world? There are four ways of approaching God. One is, in the beginning, there may be some fear of God, but fear is not the highest platform of approaching God. Say, for example, a child should have some fear of parents, then the child will be on the right track. But if the child is always afraid of the parents won't feel happy about it. Higher than fear is benefit. Say now the child starts approaching the parents, not just out of fear, but the child asks for some things from the parents. Mummy, please give me a laddu. Daddy, please give me some pocket money. Okay, the parents will be happier, somewhat more happy than the fear platform. So the second platform is benefit. Hmm? So, yeah, higher than the fear platform is benefit platform, means God, give me this, God, give me that. Okay, but still, this is also not the highest. Higher than that is duty. When the child matures a little more, the child may approach the parents out of a sense of duty. Hmm? Oh, my parents have been doing so much for me, huh? So selflessly taking care of me. Let me also serve them in return. So, similarly, a spiritualist who is more advanced thinks like this: oh, God has been providing me so much. All the grains, rains, sunshine, oxygen. So, let me reciprocate with God by serving God in some or the other way. Hmm? So, that is an even higher platform. But the highest platform, now, even the duty platform has some selfishness, but very little amount of selfishness. The first two platforms, they are more or less on a selfish platform. But the third one, duty, also has some selfishness. But the fourth platform, love or unconditional love, hmm, that is the highest platform. Say a child serves his parents not because they did something for him in the past. He just loves them. Therefore, he is serving them. That is the highest platform. So, similarly, and the most advanced spiritualist approaches God for pure love, unconditional love. I am not coming to Krishna because Krishna helped me get into IIT or helped me get into this exam, or because Krishna answered my prayer before my visa interview, because Krishna allowed me to come to US. He fulfilled my desires. Therefore, I'll worship Krishna. No, I want to love Krishna just because I want to love him. Unconditional love. There is no because there. Actually, yeah. Unconditional love means there's no condition there. Hmm? So that is unconditional love. Hmm? So how do we revive our relationship and go back to the spiritual world? Krishna has given us different paths in the Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, but they are ultimately meant to take us to Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is the highest platform. Bhakti Yoga is the path of love for God, or Bhakti Yoga is about performing those things that help us express our love for God. Hmm? So, Bhakti Yoga involves practices like chanting every day. Chanting is a wonderful way of expressing our love for God. Hmm? Though right now we may not have love for Krishna, while we chant, we may not necessarily feel love for Krishna. But that process of chanting, if we continue diligently uh, over the years, gradually our heart becomes filled with love for God. Hmm? Gradually, our heart grows in love for God. Hmm? Gradually, we start falling in love with God again. Hmm? So, yeah. Now, we will end with this topic. 5 ways. By the way, if somebody wants to drink water, go to the restroom and come, you may feel free to do it. We will then continue with this topic, and then we will take reflections and questions. This is a very nice topic, and we will also continue it in the next session. But right now, it's we'll dive into the preliminary understanding of this topic. 5 ways Krishna shows us mercy in this material world. Hmm? Okay. So can I take a minute's break and come back? I'll just go to the restroom and come. Also drink some water. So, oh, we have Amitabh Prabhu also there in the background. Hare Krishna. Prabhu. Nice to see you. Okay, so yeah. We'll resume with our slideshow. Okay, 5 ways Krishna shows us mercy in this world. Now, somebody may say, okay, we desired to enjoy separately from God. We misused our independence, and God has created this toy-like setup for us, this virtual reality where we can try to enjoy separately from God. Then maybe God has totally neglected us. And God doesn't care about us now because we have left God and come here, right? So does it mean God has started hating us? No, not at all. He still loves us. And He is waiting for us to turn toward Him. In fact, God, Krishna, He plays such a wonderful role in our lives, even while we are living in this material world. Throughout our sojourn in this material world, Krishna is playing, his wonderful hand exists in our lives, in not just this life, in our multi-life journey. Krishna's hand is wonderfully present. So it's something like this. Even though, say, a dog has a master, a very loving master who takes very good care of him. But still, sometimes the dog desires to taste some filthy stuff. Dogs like to sniff around some garbage cans, no, and try to taste some garbage. So, even though the master doesn't want his pet dog to taste some garbage of some dustbin, but still the dog has a desire. So, what will the master do? The master ties a leash around that dog's head and takes the dog. And the master will himself accompany that dog. So similarly, Krishna, he accompanies each and every soul in that soul's multi-life journey. Krishna is present with us as our constant friend. Krishna expands into another form, and that form is called Paramatma. Technically, when we use the word Paramatma, it refers to that form of Krishna. But at another level, Param Atma means the Param Atma, the Supreme Atma. So Krishna, he accompanies every soul. So right now, living in this body, or living in Amar Prabhu's body or Hari Krishna Prabhu's body, my body, there are two souls. One is me, the individual soul, and the other soul is the Param Atma, the Supreme Atma, Krishna, who is just accompanying me and keeping a watch over me like a loving father. So just like a master tying a leash around the pet dog's neck and lovingly taking that pet dog to some garbage can, even though it's not advisable for that dog to go near the garbage can, but still the dog has a desire. So the master, out of his love, takes his dog. So similarly, it is not advisable for us to be in this material world, live in forgetfulness of God, but still we desired it. So God lovingly accompanies us and He stays in the background. In the background, He is providing for us. He's doing everything for us. Whatever we desire, He sees whether we even deserve it, and then He fulfills those desires. In fact, it is Paramatma who leads us from one body to another based on what we desire and what we deserve. So now, 5 ways. So God hasn't neglected us. He is always there with us. He is always watching over us. It is we who have forgotten God. It's not that God is not merciful upon us. His mercy is always there for us. We have to turn toward Him and take advantage of His mercy. So now 5 ways Krishna shows us mercy in this material world. And what are they? Number 1, the worldly pleasures. The pleasures of this world also in one sense are His mercy. Because we desire to enjoy separately from Him. We desire to take His position. So He has created this virtual reality, this material realm, which is a toy-like setup where we can try to play God. And in this world, He has given us some worldly pleasures. So these worldly pleasures, because we wanted to enjoy separately from him, just like that dog wanting to taste garbage, although it's not recommended to taste garbage, but still, okay, fine, the dog has that desire, so the master lovingly takes him. And the master taking that dog to a garbage can, in one sense you can say it is the master's mercy upon that dog. The master is expressing his love toward that dog. So similarly, God letting us enjoy some material pleasures in this world, in one sense, it is mercy. However, this is not his highest mercy. It is a lower form of mercy. Worldly minded people will see material pleasures as God's mercy. भगवान ने कृपा दिखा दी, बहुत सुंदर स्त्री भेजी हमारे जीवन में, हाँ, और या भगवान ने कृपा दिखा दी, हमारा यूएस वीजा करवा दिया, हाँ. So but those who are advanced in spiritual consciousness, they don't see satisfaction of material desires or getting of worldly pleasures as God's real mercy. It is mercy at one level, but not the highest form of mercy. In fact, one saint at one place, he prays to God that God, please don't show me your duplicitous mercy. He is calling worldly pleasures as duplicitous mercy of God. God, please show me a real mercy. One saint who is very advanced in his spiritual consciousness, he prays like this. He is calling worldly pleasures as duplicitous mercy of God. Means not his real mercy. So, yeah, in one sense, it's like a taunt at God. But actually, he is not blaming God in any way. But sometimes in love, even though we are fully in love with that other person, out of love, we may make some taunting comments. So sometimes saints in their prayers, they make some taunting comments upon God also. Okay, these are higher esoteric topics. Just I briefly mentioned it. So yeah, worldly pleasures in one sense are a mercy of God, but not his real mercy. Now, what enables worldly pleasures? What enables the Atma, who is so irresistibly attracted to the Paramatma, to Krishna, to enjoy worldly pleasures? Actually, worldly pleasures are nothing compared to the pleasure of loving Krishna. It's loving Krishna is like nectar, but worldly pleasures in comparison to that, they are like sewage. If you are offered a cup with sewage in it, would anyone like to drink it? Will feel disgusted with it, right? Sewage, that dirty stuff flowing underground, coming from all the drainage systems, all the toilet stuff. Who would like to drink that? It's obnoxious, right? Abominable. So similarly, those who derive, those who feel the connection with Krishna, with God, they see worldly pleasures as sewage. But still, there are living entities who are madly running after these sewage-like pleasures, right? We see around. We were also at one point running after such pleasures. I'm speaking about myself. And I'm not sure about you. Maybe you are already advanced. You never ran after worldly pleasures. But at least for myself, I can say, yeah, I used to run after worldly pleasures. Somehow by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, now I'm making an attempt to run after the higher pleasures of loving Krishna. But yeah, these worldly pleasures, who enables us to enjoy these worldly pleasures? There's this Shakti called Maya. Sometime back, I think Vignesh Prabhu gave the answer. What is it that enables us to forget God and to get fully absorbed in worldly pleasures? It's this Shakti called Maya. So Maya Shakti is the technically illusion-causing energy of God. That energy of God which causes us to forget God and to run after material pleasures, to make us full, that energy which makes us fully absorbed in this world. That is Maya Shakti. And this Maya Shakti keeps offering different temptations to us. Okay, Swapnil, do you want this? Do you want a nice lollipop? Do you want a nice ice cream? Oh, you don't want? Are you sure you don't want? One day, I thought I should mention this from my personal experience. When my nephew, he's 12, 13 years old now, when I had just come to the US in 2014, he was hardly 3.5 years old. He used to play with some toys. And in America, based any toys, anything that any types of toys or any comic book that becomes famous among people, they make even theme parks out of it, right? So Disney movies became famous, so Disney came up with theme parks. So any cars that become famous, then they come up with theme parks where they show big scale cars. So similarly, my nephew, he used to play with some Diggerland type of toys that do construction and all. So like picking up mud from one place, dropping it somewhere. So out of those toys, they created a theme park also. So my nephew really desired to go there. So my brother, sister-in-law took him there. And I also happened to be at home. Although I was reluctant, not desiring to go, they were insisting, come with us, come with us. Okay, then I went. So then after some time, after spending very little time there, my nephew was bored. We all came to the car. We, whatever food we had packed, we had in the car. And then the plan was to go back to that same theme park. But my nephew was saying, no, no, let's go home. Because he was bored with it. Then my sister-in-law offered him. She was telling him, come on, don't you want to see that? We are yet to see that. Don't you want to see that? Look there. He was saying, no, no, no. Let's go home. On observing that, it immediately clicked me. Oh, isn't that how the Maya Shakti of Krishna also works? She offers us temptations, this Maya Shakti. Come on, Swapnil, don't you want to enjoy that? Don't you want to enjoy that beautiful scenery? Or don't you want to have some romantic pleasure, enjoy some romantic pleasure with this nice young lady? Come on, are you sure? When we firmly keep saying, no, 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 I don't want all these pleasures. I want only Krishna. I want the pleasure of loving God. I'm not going to settle down for lowly worldly pleasures. Then we become eligible to go back to the spiritual world. So my nephew, after he persistently said, no, 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 I don't want to see that, not even that. My sister-in-law, for a considerable amount of time, she offered him temptations. His name is Sujit. So, Sujit, come on, don't you want to see that? Finally, when he persistently said no to that, then we went home. And why did she play that role? Why did my sister-in-law do that? Just so that after going home, he shouldn't again insist on coming back. Oh, we missed that. So she tested him thoroughly. Are you sure you don't want to see this anymore? No, no, no. He kept saying no. Then we went back home. So similarly, the Maya Shakti, she, even while we walk this spiritual path of Krishna consciousness, this Maya Shakti will constantly keep offering us temptations. Come on, Amar Prabhu, look at that nice Marathi girl. Don't you want to have good time with her? And then Amar Prabhu, no, no, I don't want that. I want Krishna. So I just chose you, Amar Prabhu. Sorry, I hope you're okay with that. So, or yeah, anyone, I can take my example also. Come on, Swapnil or Srivas Chandra Das. Don't you want to enjoy this pleasure? No, no, I want Krishna. When we persistently show our determination that we want God above everything else, then we become qualified to go back to the spiritual realm. until we have any taste for material pleasures, we may have to keep taking births in this material world. So, and yeah, that's the job of Maya Shakti, the illusory energy of God, to offer us temptations. Now, is she doing it out of malice? No, she has no ill intentions in doing that. Just like my sister-in-law, she had no ill intentions of offering all those temptations to my nephew, to her son, basically. She offered it for a good reason, so that after going home, he doesn't desire to come back again. So similarly, before we go back to Vaikuntha, back to the spiritual world, we have to be firmly fixed in our understanding that, okay, I have had enough of this material realm. I don't want any more material pleasures. It's meaningless running after material pleasures. Let me run only after Krishna now. When we are firmly fixed in this understanding, then we become eligible to go back to the spiritual world. So this Maya Shakti, not out of malice, but out of good benevolence, she offers temptations to us. Now, let's compare Maya and Satan from Christian religion, or even in Islam, Satan is called Shaitan. In Hindi, you must have heard this word, right? Shaitan. Many Hindi words have come from Urdu. There is Urdu-less Hindi also, we can speak, pure Hindi. It takes a little struggle, but yeah, a lot of Hindi is mixed with Urdu words. So Shaitan word, it comes from the Islamic context. So Satan and Shaitan, they are similar concepts. And they are parallel to Maya. Is everyone still with me? Or is it getting too boring now? Or too much? We'll end soon, actually. We may not even get time to complete the remaining 4 factors. I'll briefly mention them, but let's focus on worldly pleasures now, for now. So, the parallel of Maya Shakti is Satan or Shaitan in Christianity or Islam. However, there's one major difference. In those traditions, they see Satan as a real competitor of God who distracts people from God. Even in Christianity, there's this understanding that Satan is an evil figure who distracts people from God. And Satan is a competitor to God, a real threat to God, a challenge to God in one sense. Not a threat, but a sort of a real competitor to God, a real rival to God. However, in our understanding, in the Vedic understanding, Maya is not a rival to God. Maya is God's Shakti. Maya works under God. Maya works under Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, 14th verse, Lord Krishna himself says, Daivi Hesha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratyaya Mame Vaya Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. This Maya Shakti of mine is very difficult to cross. Krishna is himself saying, it's literally impossible to cross this Maya Shakti. But one who surrenders to me can easily cross. So on our own, we just cannot cross over Maya. But by Krishna's grace, we can cross.
Prabhu, can you please repeat the verse, Prabhu? Sorry.
7th chapter, 14th verse. Daivi Hyesha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratyaya. Mama Maya, my Maya. Duratyaya, difficult to cross. Mam eva ye prapadyante. But those who surrender to me, prapadyante, those who take my shelter or surrender to me, mayam etam tarantite. Taranti means cross. tar ke jate hai wo. So mayam etam tarantite. They cross over this Maya. Our today's session was supposed to be crossing this ocean of material existence. So now we have touched upon the topic, actually. We'll continue in the next session further. So anyways, what's the comparison between Maya and Satan? they are similar in the sense that both distract us from God. But our understanding of Maya is a complete understanding, whereas the understanding of Satan is not that, it's not a very complete understanding, because in Christianity, the understanding of Satan is a real rival to God or a competitor to God. But in our understanding, Maya is not a competitor or a rival to God. Maya works under God. Krishna himself, as I quoted this verse 7.14, Mama Maya. Krishna is saying my Maya. So Krishna is saying this is my Maya Shakti. It's very difficult to cross. Maya is godlike, actually, as powerful as God, but of course subordinate to God, but very powerful. For us, literally impossible to cross Maya. But if we surrender to Krishna, take shelter of Krishna, we can cross Maya. So I hope this point is clear. So this Maya Shakti is offering many temptations to us. And it's not out of any malice, but it's out of benevolence to test us, to test our determination. So let's be determined on this path of Krishna consciousness. So yeah, we were discussing 5 forms of mercy of Krishna. One is worldly pleasures. In one sense, they are a form of mercy of Krishna, but not the highest form. In fact, those who are advanced in spirituality, they don't desire this form of mercy of God. One saint, as I said, as I quoted, he calls such form of mercy as duplicitous mercy of God. And he's praying to God, he's praying to Krishna, please don't show me your duplicitous mercy, show me your real mercy. So now we'll briefly touch upon what are the higher forms of mercy of God, and going toward the real form of mercy. And in this world, we are not talking about Vaikuntha right now. We are talking about this world. We are talking about worldly pleasures. So our topic right now going on is 5 ways Krishna shows us mercy in this material world. So we are talking about this material world. So one form of mercy is the worldly pleasures itself. But these worldly pleasures don't impress those who are spiritually advanced. They don't see that these worldly pleasures as real mercy of Krishna, and it is not real mercy of Krishna. So next is the disappointments caused by the time factor in this world. The disappointments and frustrations that we face in this world, and all of us inevitably we have to face disappointments and frustrations in this world. Even if everything goes well in life, ultimately the time factor snatches away everything from us, right? At death, everything is taken away from us. All our relationships, all our assets, wealth, everything is taken away from us. So it causes us disappointment and frustration. Now, this is a mercy of Krishna, actually. From a worldly perspective, we will not see this as mercy. But those who are spiritually immature, they see worldly pleasures as God's mercy. But those who are spiritually mature, they start seeing the frustrations and disappointments of this world as God's mercy. And we will dive into this topic in the next session. It requires spiritual maturity to see frustrations as a mercy of God, disappointments as a mercy of God. Those who can do it, they can make tremendous spiritual progress. Those who can develop this attitude. For now, let's just walk away with at least some superficial idea of this principle, that those who gratefully accept even the miseries of this world and seek God's mercy in that, they make tremendous spiritual progress. Okay, just to prove this point, can I show you one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam? It's Tatte Nukampam Susamikshamano Bhunjana Evatma Kritam Vipakam Hridvagvapurbhir Vidadhan Namaste Jivetayo Muktipade Sadaya Bhak. Who is saying this? Lord Brahma in his prayers to Lord Krishna. Lord Brahma, at one point, he tests Lord Krishna. I'll share with you this Little Krishna episode. You can watch it. Yeah, it's there in Hindi as well as English. Let me, yeah, please watch it. That will give the context of these prayers of Lord Brahma. It's a very mesmerizing episode. You'll love it. This is, I think, that.
Smile out of my mind the whole day. Champa's right. Oh, Yashoda, sometimes we forget our own boys, lost in sweet thoughts of your little Krishna. You are so fortunate, Yashoda. I really wish Krishna were my...
Were you able to hear the sound as well?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
Now let's see what Lord Brahma is praying. The verse that I just quoted. No, it's number 8, I think. Yeah, let's see. I already recited the Sanskrit. Here's the translation. Would someone like to read? Someone other than Amar Prabhu and Hari Krishna Prabhu?
I can go, Prabhu.
Yes.
My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim.
Wonderful. Thank you, Shreyas Prabhu. So this is a very deep verse. To actually dive into it will take another long session. So I'm not going to dive into it right now. Maybe I'll just share the verse number with you. I'll share a link to this. But why we mentioned this? To substantiate this point. Lord Brahma is saying that those who see Krishna's merciful hand, even in all the reversals of life, in all the disappointments and frustrations of life, and still continues to gratefully thank Krishna and patiently waiting for Krishna's real mercy, the highest form of mercy, which we are going to see now. So, yeah, so this first form of mercy, worldly pleasures, is not really mercy. It is mercy in one sense, but advanced spiritualists don't see it as real mercy. Second form, here mercy has begun, which can help living entities turn toward spirituality. But this is also not the highest. The Atma is not just meant to keep facing frustrations and disappointments in this world. The frustrations and disappointments of this world, they are better than the worldly pleasures because they at least make us turn toward God. Worldly pleasures make us forget God. So therefore, advanced spiritualists don't desire worldly pleasures. They are happy with frustrations and disappointments. However, frustrations and disappointments in themselves are not the highest truth. They are meant to lead us to the highest truth. So what is the highest truth? So what are the 3 other forms of mercy which are higher than this? They are the real forms. Okay, so first one is the lowest form of mercy. Second one is a higher form of mercy. And third, fourth, and fifth, I'll not put them as one above the other. Third, fourth, and fifth forms of mercy, they are equally good. And what are they? The third one, the scriptures that God gives us in this world, which are his own words. Scriptures like the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. These scriptures, they are words of God or words about God, fully glorifying God. When we tune in to these words, we can develop love for God. We can go toward God. So yeah, scriptures, these are very powerful forms of God's mercy. The first two forms of mercy are, not so much mercy. So now, frustrations and disappointments of this world, they are better than worldly pleasures, but still they are also meant to lead us to what? To scriptures, to the words of God. Because sometimes people who are frustrated in this world, they are better candidates to turn toward God than people who think themselves very happy. सब चल रहा है, ठीक चल रहा है, भगवान की क्या जरूरत है जीवन में. Such people cannot turn toward God. But those who are in need, who think they need God, some people desperately come to God for shelter. I remember in January, I was in Silicon Valley before I moved to Boston. I had one seva every Wednesday morning. One particular morning, one student from Stanford, a PhD student, he came to the temple. That time the door was closed. There was no open entry. Only those who had some seva in the temple were allowed. So one person knocked. He rang the bell. Nobody opened for some time. I heard the bell, but I thought someone else will open. But then he rang the bell again and I stepped out. I went to open the door, dropped my service for some time just to see who is at the door. And there was this young boy who was very disturbed. So he, he said, "Oh, I really want to come in. I'm very disturbed." Okay, I thought, okay, fine. Even though there was no open entry for everyone that time. Only somebody who had seva was allowed. I thought, okay, he looked very disturbed. So, he came in. And then, he wanted to speak to somebody. And I could clearly see he is disturbed. And then I told him, okay, you sit here for some time. Just continue chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Just keep chanting. I'll complete my seva and then we will talk. And then he was sitting nearby while I was, my seva was dressing Srila Prabhupada, changing the dress of Prabhupada. I heard soft crying from his side. So I could see he was crying. He was in tears. And he was even chanting. So I did not interfere with him. I thought it's a good sign. He's crying out to Krishna, which is a good sign actually. And while talking, we'll figure it out. So I did not disturb him while he was crying, because that crying was a good symptom actually. He's crying while chanting the name of God. It's a very auspicious thing. So after the seva was complete, we talked for almost 2-3 hours. We talked and he opened up. He was very disturbed about some broken relationship and all, and things not working in life. And we discussed some nice points from Bhagavad Gita, the context of Bhagavad Gita, how Arjun was also disturbed. And in that state of disturbance, Arjun took shelter of Krishna. So I appreciated him also and tried to show him the positive side of things not working out well in life. Specifically, I focused on this point: frustrations and disappointments being mercy of God. And he could connect with it. And very swiftly, he took shelter of the process of Krishna consciousness. Now he is chanting regularly. He is coming to the temple regularly. So, he has taken the scriptures very seriously now. So, what are these 3 other forms of mercy? One is scriptures, which are God's words. Then God's own descent into this world. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, right? What is that famous verse? Right in the beginning of Mahabharat serial, one verse used to be quoted, right? Does someone remember?
Yada yada hi dharmasya
Yada
glanirभवति.
yada hi dharmasya. Can you complete that verse, Hare Krishna Prabhu? Or anyone else?
Wait. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirभवति bharatah
Vyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, 7th verse. So God's descent into this world is a great, great form of mercy upon all of us. How else would we know God? So beautiful is Krishna, no? Just look at this picture. Is everyone looking at the slides? At least, even if you were doing something else, for a brief few moments, just look at this picture of Krishna. This is how beautiful God is. Now, this is a hand-drawn picture. How beautiful actually Krishna must be. Isn't this picture itself so beautiful and charming? So yes, God's own descent into this world, such a great mercy upon us. And then, can you guess the fifth form of mercy? The third, fourth, and fifth are equally good. We are not giving them any hierarchy. The third one was scriptures. Fourth one, God's own descent into this world. And fifth one, can you guess?
His devotees.
Yeah, wonderful. Shreyas Prabhu ki jai. Yeah, thank you. Pure devotees who can help us rise in love with him again. So yes, even more than his own descent, God sends his pure devotees. Krishna sends his pure devotees. In fact, at any point of time in this world, you will see that some or the other pure devotees exist in this world. So even though Krishna came 5,000 years ago, right now, yeah, Krishna's incarnation, Krishna is not there in the world. In one sense, he is there. He is present everywhere, but not like 5,000 years ago when we could see Krishna literally in front of our eyes. God periodically descends into this world time and again, and even common men can see God walking among them. So right now that time is not there, but still that doesn't mean there's no opportunity. Pure devotees are still there. And yeah, so pure devotees of God. Okay, we'll end here. This is also another long discussion. So in our next session, in this session, we have dealt enough with worldly pleasures. In the next session, we will deal with disappointments caused by the time factor. Many people call the time factor as cruel, right? But those who are spiritually mature, they see that this time factor is actually a very nice, benevolent arrangement of God to help us turn toward him. Otherwise, the time factor, yeah, I agree, it looks cruel at one level. It brings people together and then suddenly breaks the relationship. There's so much love in a family, right? Parents love their children, but suddenly somebody passes away. It is painful, no doubt. So the time factor may look cruel, but no. It takes some spiritual maturity to see the benevolent hand of God behind this time factor. We will see it in the next session. It has been a really long session. I'm so sorry. Somehow these topics are just so amazing and absorbing. Somehow we lose track of time.
No, bro, it was
I
so
hope you will
wonderful.
forgive. Thank you. But I'm grateful for your patience. Okay, now we will go around and ask. Before we do that, let's just chant 10 Mahamantras and put our full heart into chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Sorry, Prabhuji, I have service at 4:30. I'm really sorry.
Please, yeah. Amar Prabhu, he is just to so that everyone knows. Amar Prabhu, he recently started his masters. He somehow accidentally came to the temple, and now he started regularly coming, and now he is living at the temple. Regularly serving at the temple while pursuing his masters also. So yeah, wonderful to have you, Amar Prabhu. And he made arrangements for us at the temple, setting up the laptop and all for all those who physically went to the temple. So yes, Prabhu, you can move ahead. Yeah. But yeah, we will stay. We will just chant 10 mantras and then we will go around and everyone can share some reflection from today's session. Reflection means any take home message for you, any points that stuck with you. By verbalizing them, we get to fortify our understanding. It's getting dark here. I'm in New
Yeah,
Jersey.
Prabhu.
I'll just turn on some lights. Okay. So, oh, sorry. My nephew is playing some movie song, I think. I hope it's not disturbing. It's not audible. So what we will do is, let's just chant 10 mantras and let's put our full heart into it. And yeah, I'll go on mute. Maybe just one of us can stay unmuted. And yeah, we will chant in unison with that person. Shreyas Prabhu, would you like to?
Yeah, sure. I'll do
You
that.
can stay unmuted. And oh, there's some Bollywood song playing around me. So I'll go on mute. We don't want Bollywood song to be contaminating our chanting session. So yes, let's put our full heart into the chanting, and then we will have a round of reflections. Okay. So before we begin our chanting, let's chant the Pancha Tattva mantra where we invoke Lord Chaitanya's blessings. So please repeat after me. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya,
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya,
Prabhu Nityananda,
Prabhu Nityananda,
Shri Advaita
Shri Advaita,
Gadadhar
Gadadhara,
Shrivasadi
Srivasa,
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Gaur.
Now we will chant in unison with Shreyas Prabhu. Maybe let's chant 25 mantras. 10 is too little. Okay, I'll go on mute.
So, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Shreyas Prabhu. Now we'll go around and ask everyone, each one of you, please share some reflection. Reflection means anything that stuck with you from today's session. And by verbalizing it, we get to fortify that understanding. So anybody who is in a hurry to leave can go first. Please feel free to go ahead. Otherwise, I can also call out names in the order I see. But if somebody is in a hurry, can go first.
Prabhu, can I go?
Yes, please. Yeah. Prabhu.
Yeah, yes, Prabhu, it was a wonderful session. I think even though it was recap and we have a gap in between the 2 weeks, and definitely got an opportunity to recollect what has been discussed. And of course, I could not remember everything, right? So, but today I got opportunity to do that. The first thing was like Atma is not belongs to here, and Atma is our real home is the Vaikuntha. That was the first thing that we discussed. And the second thing I liked mostly is like keep every Atma as a siblings, right? That we have discussed. Yeah, keeping in that in mind, most of the clashes between the people and egoist, right? We can control them more in that mode, right? So that's the second thing. And there are things like God-centric thing, right? So everyone think that I am the greatest soul, but in fact there is a supreme hero is there, who is the center of everyone. So we have to work, we have to pleasure him to make him happy. Rather, we get anything, we expect something from him, right? So, like we have seen the 4 type of people, 4 type of pleasure to the God, like fear to love, basically, fear and a response. I mean to say, what was that actually?
Fear, desire, duty, love.
Desire, duty, and love. Yeah. So, yeah, actually, to go into the love is the ultimate state for souls to give pleasure to God, but too early for us, right? So, but we can go into this second stage at least. Rather, fear is not there. Definitely, I can say that. Right? But desire, I need to fulfill the desire and go into the next stage of next stages at least to reach the love. Love is ultimate. And finally, we thought of we discussed about the 5 ways God will pleasure us, right? So what He is providing us, right? So worldly pleasure is the one thing that we discussed, and it was a lengthy topic, and everybody is in that trap, definitely. So it's not easy to come up that Maya, I mean illusion of that worldly pleasure. And disappointed and frustrations, I was not clear. Frustrations I have, like, because people who are frustrated are who we are frustrated by somebody, right? So there are 2 kind of frustrations would be there. Ultimately, we are the one who is this suffering or disappointed by the words by others, right? So I was not clear with that statement, but anyway, we'll come to in the next session, right, in the details of it.
Yes.
So
basically, by frustrations and disappointments, we are talking about things not going our way in this world, and the miseries of this world, the sufferings of this world, which causes mental agony. It may come through others, or it may just come through some other factors. No matter what factor it comes through, but a mature spiritual practitioner sees them as mercy of Krishna. Even if miseries may come through his own wife, or through his children, or through parents, or through siblings, or whatever, through boss, through colleagues, in whatever way miseries come, a mature spiritualist sees the merciful hand of God in them. So that was the main point. We will dive deeper into it in the next session. We will see how, and we will also see how relevant it is to our spiritual journey.
Scriptures and dissenting, God dissenting, and finally devotees.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I think it was good actually. So maybe once we started in the next time, maybe we'll go into details of it, into
Yes.
topics.
Yeah, we will dive into the details. Yeah.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yeah.
Hare
Yeah,
Krishna,
you have
Prabhuji.
been in the temple, no? You may have to
Yes, yeah.
go home now. Yeah, feel free to drop. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Okay, now, if nobody else is in a hurry to leave, I could just call out names. Rajat, Prabhu, you want to go next?
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu, like it was a great recap because like we had a big break, and I remembered when we reached to those quiz questions, I was like, oh yeah, this is what we did in the last session. But like, it was a good recap for me for that, like all the different questions we had in those quiz, and for me, like the different personality, like the different photos we had of the different strengths, like we look for strength, intelligence, like the different attractions. So that pictures really like helped capture those things, what we look for, like the different distractions we have. And next was like the like your example that you gave of your nephew. Like it happens to I believe it happens to everyone. Like it happens to me definitely. Like there will be different things that I would be looking for. Okay, like I have to say no, like saying no to things and not falling into that trap, which I fall into those few of those traps, and I have to work on my discipline. And like, that example really hit me. Like, yeah, I can see, oh yeah, these are the things, and how I should work on that, and what I should do to not surrender to that, and work on myself to help improve me. That example was like a takeaway for me. Then regarding the like how God is, like what are the different things for us, like the last few slides about like the different scriptures, then the God descendants and the devotees being in their surrounding, that like these were the few like takeaways.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nicely you covered many points. Yeah, regarding distractions, yes, most of us will have to. In fact, all spiritual practitioners, we are faced with temptation. And those temptations, we can see them as tests, tests of our determination. And to be able to say no to such temptations, we have to say yes to a higher reality. And what is that higher reality? Krishna. Saying no to temptations becomes easier when we say yes to Krishna, to God. So the more we bring God into our lives, it's easier to say no to temptations. In fact, we are not bringing Krishna in our lives so that we can rise above temptations. We want to rise above temptations so that we can go to Krishna. Krishna is not a stepping stone toward conquering of temptations. Conquering of temptations is a stepping stone toward Krishna. Krishna is the highest goal. Yeah, sometimes, yeah, that is also one point to be noted carefully, that we are not approaching Krishna so that we can conquer temptations. We are approaching Krishna because that's our ultimate goal. And conquering temptations is a stepping stone to approaching Krishna. But even to walk on this stepping stone of conquering temptations, we need help from Lord Krishna. We need to remember him and say yes to him and invite him in our lives. Then even that stepping stone becomes easy to cross. Okay. Tarun Prabhu, you want to go next? Thank you, Rajat.
Yeah, like I most of the points they said was really valid. The point which actually stuck with me today was like again, I think we went over this in last session also, to have God in, like, to have Krishna in all your actions, basically on everyday basis. Here we're trying to say that his continuous presence is necessary in our life. And in the last session, like the session before, we recapped this last session, we said we should bring Krishna in our daily actions too. Like every action should be in order with Krishna in it. So that it's in a way, if we just imbibe, bring in the Lord into our everyday life, then it's much more naturally a path towards it. It's not, it doesn't become overall sacrificial, like I'm doing so much to just attain this. It's like, okay, this is just a path, and it's natural, much more natural. You don't make it a big Herculean task out of it. So that's one thing. And the second thing is like, yes, we studied the ways of like reaching God, but we forget that God is also having a personal life. We often tend to forget that, and as it's pretty natural. But who as people, who do we say that these people are involved in a personal life? Those are your family and your closest friends. So we can, once we understand that we are part of a personal life of God, then we are one of his closest friends, you could say, or family, whatever, however you want to say it in our own way. So yeah, those are the points which stuck with me.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you, Prabhu, for bringing up that point. Yeah. How wonderful it is that we are a part of God's personal life. And in the spiritual realm of Vaikuntha, we live with God, we interact with God, and we are a part of his personal life. And we live to give him pleasure. We assist him in his leelas, in his joy expanding leelas. So, yeah, and in that process, we derive supreme pleasure. So, yeah, thank you, Tarun Prabhu. Next, Ranjit Prabhu, would you like to go next?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was a very comprehensive recap, Prabhu. Thank you very much for that. And yeah, but a few of the concepts, I think I do not know about the rest, but for me, yeah, I needed a little bit of a refresher. Yeah. Of course, the 8, you put it very nicely, when you spoke about the 8 elements in which, you know, we are stuck in the apparatus of the 8 elements, 5 earthly and 3, of the subtle
5
body.
gross and 3 subtle. Yeah.
Yeah, 5 gross and 3 subtle body. So yeah, a small, I mean, conceptually, as far as spiritual journey goes, yeah, so a lot of those refreshers really help. And yeah, the 2 main things for me takeaways today were about the 4 and 5 that we spoke about. 4 stages or platforms of love. Fear, belief, then duty, and unconditional love. So those are the 4. Is it a Prabhu?
Yes.
Did I
Fear,
make any mistake?
desire, duty, love. Yeah.
Love, yeah. So yeah, that 4 and 5 was Maya. God's mercy, 5 types of mercy. Maya, then we spoke about frustration, sometimes, what we call blessing in disguise. Sometimes what we think is like a bad thing actually is a blessing. The second one, then the other 3, mercies, scripture, God discerning Himself, and then devotees. Those five are the big takeaways.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and we discussed the story of how one boy, a PhD student from Stanford, he because he was in a disappointed state, he was almost on the verge of giving up on life. He had even revealed to me that he was getting suicidal thoughts. But he made a wise decision in that state by taking shelter of God. He came to the temple, and now, yeah, that second form of mercy through frustrations, it has converted into higher forms of mercy. Now he is regularly reading scriptures, associating with devotees, and yeah, trying to go closer to Krishna in every possible way. Regularly, he comes to the temple. So, yeah, he was benefited because of the frustrations of this world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I think Shreyas Prabhu, we are yet to hear from you. Shreyas Prabhu and Sagar Prabhu, right? You are yet to share your reflections. And Surya Prabhu also. Or Shreyas
Yeah.
Prabhu, have you already shared? No.
No, I have.
Okay. Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Prabhu.
Perfect. So there are like 4 points on top of my head. So people usually fight based on their religion, right? Hindu, Muslim, Christian, and there is always fight going on in the world. But in reality, we all are siblings to each other. I think that's the one of the great points out of today's lecture. Then frustration that we talked about. It's one of the mercies of Lord Krishna, and I'm certainly kind of feeling that yes, frustration or distress is the mercy of Krishna, because it's pulling me closer to Krishna all the times. Third point was Maya. Certainly Maya is not a kind of shaitan, but certainly Maya is the agent of Krishna, and it keeps testing you and your personality, if you really want to go back to Godhead and go towards Krishna, or just you have the material desires and that's why you are worshipping Lord. So Maya is certainly providing you all the material desires just to test you, and it's not a really shaitan, as we mentioned, but it's an agent of Krishna. And ultimately, yes, Lord is all merciful, even though we are not eligible. Lord Krishna always showered his mercy and his love on us all the times. Yeah. So those
Thank
are...
you, Prabhu. I'm amazed. You must have been so attentive that you were able to bring out so many points. It was a long session, but I'm grateful to each one of you that you participated enthusiastically. Thank you, Shreyas Prabhu. Next, Sagar Prabhu, would you like to go next?
Sure. Actually, I'm outside, but I'm sorry if there's any disturbance. I was traveling.
No.
I think
we can still hear you.
Okay. I think it's been a very good session. I didn't feel that it was that long, or maybe the time went as when I couldn't really feel that it was long. But as and when you gave examples, I was able to recollect through the previous classes, the ones I had attended. So consciously I do not have the capability of going through what we discussed on a regular basis, even though I wanted to, I don't have the, at least
Sagar
for now, I
Prabhu,
don't have the.
could
Are
you
you able
hold
to
the
hear me?
phone closer?
Yeah, just. Am I audible now? Is it better?
Yeah, much better. Yeah.
Yeah, so I felt this was a very good session. It was not that long, or I didn't feel that it was that long. And as and when you gave examples, I was able to recollect to the previous classes that I attended. So that was good in consciously trying to recollect them. One thing I liked was now how when things one thing that I would like to explore more would be that when things don't work out, we do not usually say think that maybe that is how God wants it to be, right? We go through all sorts of emotions, but when we do get the things we want, we do say thanks to the God. So I think having the mindset to be able to accept both ways would actually would be the ideal way to be. So I'm looking forward to the next lesson to explore this deeper. But yeah, overall, very good session. I feel. Thank you.
Thank you. It's amazing that even though you joined relatively later in the course, you are able to relate with the topics and attentively participate and make a mental note of all the topics. Yeah, beautifully you summarize the points, your takeaway message. Thank you, Sagar. And now Surya Prabhu. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So thank you for the session, and we are connecting for the session after 2 to 3 weeks. I think it is
In fact,
really good to
4
connect
weeks.
after a long. Yeah, after 4 weeks, I think
Yeah.
3 to 4 weeks. I think it's really good to connect after a long time. So thank you for the session first of all, and so from this session, what I get to know is like how we come across the ocean of material existence. So how everyone is sailing across this ocean of material existence and going through in their life, and how Bhagavad Gita and his and its Vedas is helping us to sail in the ocean of this birth and death for us, and very easily to come out from this um, path actually. So I think Bhagavad Gita, it's Veda, really help us a lot in coming out from this. So from this session, I learned that, and so at a certain point of time, that it is not possible that every even a good expert is not able to make what they are expecting to do. So at that point of time, it is really everyone need a kind of rest or a kind of time to take another learning from Gita's Vedics, I think. So I think that that really helps us to come out from this ocean of material existence in order to again start, recharge, and again move in their path. So I think from this session, I get to know about that. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Wow, wonderfully put, Surya Prabhu. Thank you for reminding us of that analogy of being caught up in this ocean of material existence. So
Thank you.
what is this ocean of material existence? Our life itself in this material world, it's like swimming in a vast ocean. And in this ocean, we face so many troubles, challenges, temptations. So this is a notion of Maya Jal, material existence. It's very difficult to cross this ocean on our own. But if we have Lord Krishna's mercy, as scriptures explain, that ocean itself becomes very small. So small that we can easily cross over it just in one step. How wonderful it is, no? So
Prabhu.
Krishna's mercy doesn't just help us cross this ocean, it also reduces the size of the ocean. That's the analogy given. Hmm. So, yeah, wonderful. We'll dive into this topic in the next session. Next session, we will have either Saturday or Sunday. I may probably be in the temple if I come by then. If I come to the temple on Saturday, maybe we'll keep the session on Sunday. But yeah, if not, then we'll have it online on Saturday itself. If I don't come before Saturday.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
I'll keep
Hare
everyone
Krishna, Prabhu.
posted on the group.
All right.
Thank you
Hare
for
Krishna.
your kind attention and tolerating me. Okay. Hare Krishna. Ranjit
Hare
Prabhu,
Krishna.
especially, what a wonderful determination. It's in India, it's so late in the night. Thank you, Prabhu.
Oh.
Very grateful for your participation.
Yes. His Grace
Thank you,
Srivastava Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Sorry, Shreyas Prabhu, did you say something?
His Grace Srivastava Prabhu ki jai. Shri
Ah.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Prabhu, you have a minute? I just have a
Yeah.
couple of questions.
Yes, please.
Yeah, Surya Prabhu and Ranjit Prabhu, you are welcome to stay on the call. But these are the questions based on my previous discussion with Srivastava Prabhu. So nothing related to
Hare
this.
Krishna, Prabhu. Yeah.
But yeah, you're more than welcome to stay on the call.
See you next week, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
See you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Yeah, Prabhu. So I think you want to stop the recording?
Oh, yes. Recording thumb out on me.